So our figures that were supposed to be here. What? Ready.
Like I'm like sitting on a couch.
I think I'm like
U of H.
What's going on?
Getting ready to go on this bike tour.
Show some bikes.
I know, I'm fine.
Story together, my story with Dana's story, it's all a verse, it's all a rhyme, and it really shows how much inequity and injustice there is in the criminal justice system. You gotta have the resume of Barack Obama.
And he studied in Mexico under some of the, something happened, and U of H painted over the mural that Leo did. And there was a political reason, and I'll be damned if I can think of what it is right now.
Around 65, 66, going forward, the first African Americans were admitted to U of H to live on campus. And they immediately started to organize because student organization, student-led movement was breaking out all over the country. The three principals were Gene Locke, the gentleman who just ran for mayor, Omowale Luthuli at that time called Dwight Allen, and the late Lynn Usain, who was the first, of course, African-American homecoming queen of a major white university in the South, probably in the nation, but certainly in the South. She was crowned Miss U of H, I think in '69, I believe, at a ceremony at homecoming at probably the Dome. And but these were the student leaders. As a matter of fact, we had a rally here because Gene Locke, it was reported, had been assaulted coming across the campus in a wooded area, probably over toward Elgin. And so there was this rally right in front of the UC. And I was a student at TSU, but when I got back from the military and I was introduced to people in the movement, this one guy, the late Leotis Johnson, who was sentenced to 30 years for...
40 years.
No, 30. No, it's 30 years for a joint, a roach, principle, right. And did 5 years, and we were able to get him out. But he introduced me immediately when I was introduced to him to Lynn Usain. And she was a very captivating personality, very smart, and all of that. So my ties to this campus became solidified, even though I was a student at TSU. At this big rally right out in front of the UC that started out with maybe about 200 folk, it was around noon. People were curious and they were, joining the crowd. And it was determined that rather than just let that crowd go that was still growing, that people would march on the head of security's office. And that was back down this way, down the street. And so by the time the crowd got down there, he wasn't available, and turned around and came back, it had swelled to probably about 1,500 folks. It was a huge crowd. And so Omowale was speaking. Somebody brought a 50-gallon drum, a big trash can or something. He got up on it, and he was speaking, and he was and out of a sense of frustration, I would imagine, all hell broke loose. And students went down in the, I guess down here somewhere, there was a cafeteria down here, a long time ago, the cafeteria down here. Went in and did some damage and stuff, went bookstore and did damage. Well, that was my first time being put in jail in Houston in terms of protest, because about 3 weeks later, they secretly indicted 14 of us, and they threw me in. And 14 of us were taken to the county jail. As a matter of fact, the late Marvin Zindler booked us in. He was a deputy. Yeah, he was a deputy in the sheriff's department. He booked us in. And there's some interesting stuff that happened down in jail. I'm not going to go into all that. But anyway, we, in some plea bargaining, people were, I was one of them, they had this witness supposedly saw me do this, and I absolutely didn't do it. And so they knew it was weak, but they just wanted to get me. They were going, hey, we got it now, we got it now. But anyway, in plea bargaining, they released some folk pled out, and 3 people went to trial. Lynn Usan, Omawale Latula, and Gene Locke, the guy who ran for mayor, went to trial downtown. It was a hung jury, and so they were exonerated in that fashion because the jury couldn't come to any kind of decision. But at that time, this campus finally, as campuses were all over the country, was a hotbed of activity. SDS, Doug Barnhart, and we were, as a matter of fact, we went all over Texas because we were connected with students at UT and schools all over. So we have these statewide, just student meetings. And of course, the things that were going on in the rest of the country were affecting schools everywhere. So it was a good time to be a student. It really was. It really was. So that's that part. And just briefly, the TSU, somewhere it was May 17th, 1967, just before I arrived in Houston from the military, because I was in the military when that happened. But I arrived in Houston a few days later, got introduced to Leotis Johnson, and so immediately I was thrown into a defense fund because what happened was 350 or more Houston police officers actually went rioting on TSU's campus.